family and I decided to move to London to broaden our horizons, meet new people, raise our family in a new environment away from the United States. I was in the band for 7 years before I decided I really wanted to focus on scoring officially. Moved to Los Angeles, said goodbye to touring world, sat in my studio forever, and got to work. I've been working as a film and TV composer for about a decade. I've worked on stuff like The Walking Dead, Dead City, films like Rosaline, Assassination Nation. I also produce music from time to time. I've worked with bands like Dear Boy out of Los Angeles, artists like Christina Apostolopoulos. I really like kind of splitting my brain up into two different modes when I can. There's like the composer brain, there's a producer brain. I like challenging myself to try new things. I think I first heard PMCs before even realizing they were PMCs through Chris Sane, who was the producer of my old band, A Passion Pit. I believe he was on an old pair of 228s long time ago, but I wasn't really paying attention at the point. But then jump forward to around 2019, Spider from PMC in LA brought a pair of 226s over to my wife's studio to try out, and I was immediately blown away. I was so impressed by the clarity, by the soundstage of them, and immediately started rethinking my whole philosophy on speakers, really. I was with another brand who makes a speaker that's very popular and sounds cool, but I was realizing that nothing was translating very well at all. It would kind of make everything sound too good in a way. So like it would be fun to listen to, but then when I actually came to working and making stuff, the end result was not at all what I wanted it to be. So after thinking for a while, I ended up getting a pair of IB1Ss, which totally blew me away. I thought they were absolutely phenomenal. They sounded huge and cinematic, which is what I want out of a speaker. I want to feel as close to being in a theater as I can possibly can without being in one. And I really got that from those. And now when we moved to London, I upgraded to IB2s, which are just like a whole new world, basically. Part of the reason I love working on PMCs for scoring is because the translation is just so immaculate. Like what it sounds like in here will sound similar on a big dub stage. It will sound similar on someone's laptop watching on Netflix. It will sound similar on a phone. It will sound similar in AirPods. I've never had a speaker that can translate this well before. And I think for me, for scoring, like that's what you want. You don't want to work really hard on a cue and then go to the final mix at the big dub stage with the huge cinematic speakers and have it completely fall flat or sound like mush. You want that low end to be where it's supposed to be. You want the clarity and separation to feel like it's there. And thankfully, I'm able to get that with these and any other PMC speaker that I've tried before. In the past, I've had other friends who have different speakers that have come over to my studio, either my previous one in Los Angeles or the one here, and when they hear these, it's usually a pretty quick convert right on the spot. Some people, really like a certain thing, and not everyone necessarily wants the most transparent speaker ever. A lot of people just want it to sound good and let the score mixer or someone else down the line worry about it, which is totally fine. But for me, I think because I really like to get into weeds with mixing my own stuff and like the sound design and production of it, I need something that really speaks to the truth of that. And anyone else that I've met, either mixer, producer, other composers that have that same philosophy, usually jump on board pretty quickly, realizing like these speakers are doing something special that not a lot of other ones are. When I'm starting a new project, it can vary, but usually we start with the script and the story, and it's a lot of conversations with the filmmakers, figuring out how we want to tell our story with the music. Some projects, the music is much more subtle. We're playing in the background. We aren't kind of emphasizing every action on screen that happens. Other things are a bit more bombastic, in your face, like anything that happens on screen happens to hit in the music. So we kind of start there to figure out which path we want to follow on. When it comes to a TV series like The Walking Dead, it was a lot of conversations with our showrunner, Eli Journet, and what I try to do, if there's time, is actually write a suite at the beginning of a project. So it'll be anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes or so, or longer. that kind of gets a lot of sounds out in front of them, starts to see if this feels like the world of the show or your project. Try and start formulating a couple of themes for characters or certain story points that follow through our whole season, and see what can stick from that. And then once you have that, you kind of start making your building blocks of a score already. So when you get a scene, let's say, you can kind of jump back and be like, oh, this theme actually fits here, or this sound fits here. But it can really vary. A lot of scores I end up doing are very synth and sound design driven. So sometimes I'm literally just starting with kind of a noise and then building from there. Other things, other projects that might be a bit more traditional in a scoring sense, I'll be working with like strings. I'm always very chord driven. I like figuring out a chord progression before anything, and then everything builds from there. But the world is kind of your oyster when it comes to how to score something these days. As long as you're finding the right emotion in the story and it's coming through on screen, then you're usually on the right path.